The machine draining our souls. There is a hidden tyranny that drains us. It's not just tiredness. It's some kind of a deep soul exhaustion. It seems like no matter how much we rest, take a day off, even go on vacation, still depleted. I've felt that. I bet you have. And the thing that's exhausting us is the system that we live in. Now, we've seen the toxic doctrines of late-stage capitalism, how they build into our daily lives a manufactured urgency, a manufactured inadequacy, unrelenting fear of missing out. The doctrines don't just kill our schedules, they drain our souls. So since I retired, I've been mentoring younger spiritual leaders who are reimagining spiritual community, and I bet you are not surprised, lots of them are exhausted. It's not just spiritual communities, it's our whole society. But I'm always thinking about spiritual communities and wondering, why isn't what we do together insulating us from whatever is driving the epidemics that are going on in our society? Well, the late-stage capitalism doctrines that we've been exploring do impact our energy. They are harsh taskmasters. And as they shape our basic instincts and how we live, one thing they do is they build in this constant sense of urgency. We've got to upgrade the clothing, we've got to upgrade the car and the phone because, oh my God, we can't wear last year's fashions or several years ago's fashions. We can't have an outdated kitchen. Urgency, manufactured fear of missing out, manufactured status anxiety. Urgency is a design of late-stage capitalism. Hacking our brains, getting a squirt of dopamine, get more time on screen, and then sell that time on screen to advertisers. When late-stage capitalism succeeds, it is exhausting. And it succeeds all the time. Constantly conditioning us, the very patterns of our lives, our daily norms, our daily practices. And that does impact our spiritual communities. So, folks come to our communities, and if they do, they are often exhausted. Of course they are. And if what we have to give them when they come is a religious version of the same stuff, what good are we? Now, that happens because we as leaders often buy the premise that people choose their spiritual communities the way they choose their cell providers. And there's enough truth in that we're not dumb to think that. But if we are asking ourselves those questions, we will be wrapped around the concept of, are we offering the best service? Are we giving people the best programs? Are we creating the most inspiring gatherings? Do we give the people what they want? It's the same exhausting framework that people live under every day. That is not different. It is not good news. It's just more chasing, more getting, more consuming, but with a religious flavor. The doctrines of late-stage capitalism are exhausting us. Our spiritual communities have to do different. We have to do better. So, the doctrines work on a brain principle. It's called hedonic adaptation, or more popularly, the hedonic treadmill. It goes like this. Using behavioral science, the machine sells us inadequacy and sells us dissatisfaction and then sells us a fix. And we comply. We buy the thing, we join the thing, we watch the thing, we swipe the thing, we come to the church. And sure enough, squirt of dopamine, a moment of relief, we feel better. The problem is our brains are adaptive organs. We get that squirt of dopamine, we get that good feeling, but before long, our brains adapt. And when they do, our emotional state returns to its previous state. A short spike of good feeling, then diminished return, and then return to baseline. The whole thing can take a week or maybe up to 4 months. It's not a bad thing, it's just a brain thing, but it's a very convenient thing for marketers. Because after a very short amount of time, we are ready again, we are vulnerable again to the drumbeat. We get back on the treadmill, we chase the next success, the next purchase, the next relationship, the next inspiring spiritual experience. So yeah, we are exhausted. And reimagined communities need to do different. Need to do better. Remember in an earlier episode, I said the problem is not that we live in late-stage capitalism, the problem is that it lives inside of us. Our patterns of life, our own expectations, how we respond to stimuli, those things inside of us, even if we are reimagining spiritual community, are there. The norms and expectations that we unconsciously buy into in us, the chase It's in us. Constant dissatisfaction, it's in us. So of course, what's in us shapes how we build our spiritual communities. The drumbeat is in us, not spiritual enough, not mature enough, not enough butts in seats, not enough income, not enough volunteers, not enough social justice, always missing something, always lacking something. It is in us. And if we follow our instincts, our solutions are going to be to do more, do better, get more, buy more, agree to more, join more. And if that is what we invite people into in our spiritual communities, join us. We'll give you an uplifting Sunday to fix those manufactured lacking feelings you have. Join us. We'll give you a more moving song or a more moving sermon, a place to feel like you are accepted, to solve this problem or solve that problem. If that's all we've got, it's just more of the same. You've probably heard this critique before. Church as consumer product, that idea has been out there a while. Here's the problem. Awareness that that's been out there for a while hasn't changed the problem. It hasn't changed the underlying instincts we bring to building our communities. Because again, that stuff is in us. So we are exhausted, and a vacation won't cut it. But what will cut it is a complete reimagining and rebuilding of what spiritual community means. So a story. How I stumbled into seeing what the problem was. Next episode, my very limited way, not that bright way, when I started to stumble out of it. For me, seeing the problem started with hatred. I hated 33% of my work. I was a college minister at a megachurch in Los Angeles. It was the late 80s, early 90s, and I hated the rhythm of life that being in that system demanded. I liked the people part. I loved the spiritual and the communal parts, but 33% of my life was not that. I was in planning meeting after planning meeting, focused on keeping that juggernaut of a system running, keeping the butts in the seats, making the next season engaging enough, exciting enough to keep those butts in seats. I hated the baked-in assumption that we have to do this because if we lose the butts, if we lose the dollars, and that would mean then we've become irrelevant and we are not living up to this special gift God has given us. The executive minister at the time said this to me: Doug, it really is great that we have such a huge front door. Every week, hundreds of new people come and join us. But what you don't see being back there with the college kids is the pressure of how big our back door is. It's great that hundreds come in the front door every week, but if we don't capture them in a very short amount of time, out the back door they go. Now that is a tyrannous pressure to live under, and I hated the tyranny. The tyranny of putting on the Sunday show. The tyranny of organizing a good enough schedule for the next quarter. The tyranny of this upcoming retreat or that annual conference, this series of special Wednesday lectures. I hated the constant drive to create good experiences so people would like us, so that people would stay, so that people would give. Hatred is not a strong enough word. But my friend who edits my stuff frowns on the F word. Now, I was only in my 20s, so I couldn't name it then. But what I hated was spirituality as product. I hated being a producer of consumer product. I hated the pressure to meet the needs of the market, to be on stage, to give the people what they want so they'll come back for more. I couldn't name it, but what I was hungry for was spirituality not infected by late-stage capitalism. Spirituality that was not performance. Now, it was a megachurch, so yeah, that dynamic was more pronounced there, sure. But I've been in smaller churches. And yeah, the pressure to put on the show, it is smaller, but the mindset is the same. Gotta keep them coming back for more. So communities of non-compliance, well, it turns out that rest in a time of late-stage capitalism is non-compliance. Now, in the next episode, let's imagine how to be a spiritual community in a communal way, in a human way, at the pace human beings are wired to live, and let's see if we can practice rest as non-compliance. Let's explore what we have to not do in order to do the kinds of things that communities of rest require. So if you'd like to get notified for upcoming episodes, subscribe.